The continents have not yet found their places. The oceans are warmer or colder or gone entirely. And the life that fills this world is nothing like our own. Tonight, we walk quietly through the strangest evolution paths in history. Let the ages dissolve around you. Sink gently into your pillow. The modern world can wait until morning. Let your eyelids grow pleasantly heavy. This is Forgotten Habitats. Let us begin. 500 million years ago, the sea floor of the Middle Cambrian era remains a place of profound and quiet mystery. Within the silt of what we now call the Burgess Shale, life experiments with forms that seem to defy the logic of later ages. A small creature, known as Opabenia, drifts through the brine with 5 eyes fixed upon the murk. Its long, flexible nozzle probes the soft sediment, seeking tiny morsels in the silence of the primordial depths. The liquid surrounding it is rich with the mineral scent of a young planet, a cocktail of salts and dissolved oxygen. Here, the measure of time is felt only in the slow drift of marine snow, falling like dust through the sunless layers. This is a domain where the rules of anatomy are still being written, and every shape is a new possibility. The 5 eyes of the hunter catch the faint bioluminescent glow of nearby sponges, reflecting a spectrum that will one day be forgotten. Nearby, the immense shadow of an Anomalocaris glides over the seabed, its segmented body rippling with a fluid grace. This is the great predator of its time, yet its movements are as gentle as a sigh in the deep. Its circular mouth, lined with plates of chitin, remains closed as it patrols the lower reaches of the ocean. The 2 grasping appendages at its front curl and uncurl, tasting the chemical signatures of the current. On the muddy floor below, a hallucigenia stands upon its stilt-like legs, its row of dorsal spines pointing toward the distant surface. It is a tiny enigma, a creature so strange that for decades we could not tell its top from its bottom. It moves with a slow, deliberate pace, oblivious to the giants passing overhead. The stillness of the Cambrian Sea is absolute, broken only by the faint scuttle of trilobites through the silt. We move forward through the ages as the tide of time pulls us toward the Carboniferous period, 300 million years in the past. In the brackish estuaries of what will become North America, a tully monster navigates the reeds. Its body is a soft, elongated tube, ending in a tail fin that pulses with a rhythmic, hypnotic beat. Its eyes sit upon long, horizontal stalks, peering through the clouded brine for a sign of movement. The atmosphere above these swamps is thick and laden with oxygen, fueling the growth of giant mosses and ferns. In the shallows, the tully monster uses its long, thin proboscis to snap at passing larvae. It is a creature without a clear lineage, a biological outlier that seems to have no cousins in the modern landscape. The murk of the estuary provides a safe harbor, where the sunlight filters down in golden, hazy shafts. Along the Silurian coastlines, where the first plants are beginning to grip the rocky soil, the sea scorpions rise. A pterygortus, nearly the size of a human, rests in the tidal pools, its massive pincers folded beneath its head. The salt spray of the ocean hits the shore with a low, constant murmur, a sound that has echoed since the first seas formed. This is an era of transition, where the boundary between the brine and the land is starting to blur. The pterygortus is a master of the shallows, its armored carapace glinting with a dull metallic sheen under the moonlight. It breathes through gills tucked beneath its body, drawing life from the oxygen-rich spray. As the moon pulls the tide back toward the deep, the creature remains motionless. A sentinel of the Archaic coast, the scent of drying kelp and wet stone fills the evening, marking the slow turn of the planetary cycle. In the Devonian age, the era of fishes, a Dunkleosteus patrols the subtropical reefs of the northern hemisphere. This massive predator lacks true teeth, instead possessing sharpened bony plates that can shear through the thickest armor. It moves through the flow with a weighted, powerful momentum, its head encased in a helmet of solid bone. The reef around it is a riot of primitive corals and sponges, a vibrant city of life beneath the waves. Despite its fearsome appearance, the Dunkleosteus moves with a quiet dignity, its tail fin pushing it through the liquid gloom. The pressure of the deep is a familiar embrace, a constant presence against its armored skin. It ignores the smaller fish that dart between the coral branches, focusing instead on the larger shadows that move in the distance. The silence of the Devonian Ocean is a heavy, comforting blanket, muffling the chaos of the world above. Near the edge of a muddy riverbank, a Tiktaalik pulls itself onto the shore, its sturdy fins acting as primitive limbs. This is a pioneer of the land, a creature that bridges the gap between the stream and the forest. It breathes the humid atmosphere through spiracles on the top of its head, its eyes scanning the strange green landscape. The scent of damp earth and decaying vegetation is new and intoxicating. The Tiktaalik moves with a slow, dragging motion. Its belly leaves a trail in the soft clay. It is not yet a creature of the land, but it is no longer purely of the sea. The transition is a quiet affair, a series of small, labored steps into a new domain. Around it, the first forests of tree ferns tower toward the clouds, their fronds rustling in the gentle breeze. As we enter the Carboniferous forests, the landscape is dominated by the giant Arthropleura, a millipede the length of a car. It winds its way through the dense undergrowth, its many legs creating a soft, scuttling cadence against the fallen leaves. The oxygen levels here are higher than they will ever be again, allowing insects to grow to sizes that seem impossible. The air is thick with the smell of resin and wet moss. The Arthropleura is a herbivore, feeding on the rotting bark of lycopod trees that reach 100 feet into the sky. It moves with a surprising fluidity, its segmented body rippling like a wave as it crosses a fallen log. The forest is a place of perpetual twilight where the dense canopy blocks out the sun. The only light comes from the faint glow of fungi growing on the damp trunks. In the Permian oceans, a helicoprion swims through the open blue, its lower jaw spiraling into a bizarre wheel of teeth. This tooth wall is a biological enigma, a permanent saw blade of serrated bone designed to slice through soft-bodied prey. The shark-like creature moves with a steady, tireless pace, its dorsal fin cutting through the surface of the sea. The vastness of the ocean is its home, a measureless expanse of indigo and salt. The helicoprion is a specialist, an evolutionary experiment that flourished in the deep. Its unique jaw allows it to feed on cephalopods that other predators cannot catch. As it dives into the colder, darker layers of the ocean, the pressure increases, but the creature is undeterred. It is a ghost of the Permian, a strange and beautiful design that would eventually vanish from the record of life. On the Permian plains, the Aestemenosuchus rests under the shade of a conifer grove. Its head is adorned with strange bony horns and knobs, giving it the appearance of a crown. This creature is a therapsid, a distant relative of the lineage that would one day lead to mammals. It breathes the dry, dusty atmosphere of the continental interior, its thick skin protecting it from the sun. The Aestemenosuchus is a bulky animal, its legs splayed to the sides as it dozes in the heat. The landscape around it is a mosaic of scrubland and seasonal rivers, a place where survival requires endurance. The low grunt of a distant herd is the only break in the afternoon stillness. This is a time of great change as the continents merge into a single sprawling landmass. In the Triassic period, the Chaerovipteryx glides between the trees of a Central Asian forest. Unlike modern gliders, its wings are attached to its back legs, giving it a profile that looks like a living delta wing. It launches itself from a high branch, its membrane catching the warm updrafts of the valley. The flight is silent and graceful, a brief journey through the sun-drenched canopy. The Chaerovipteryx lands with a light touch on a neighboring trunk, its small claws gripping the rough bark. It is a pioneer of the skies, testing a method of flight that would never be repeated by any other animal. The forest below is filled with the calls of early dinosaurs and the rustle of cycads. The evening light turns the valley into a sea of amber and gold as the world prepares for the coming night. Deep in the Jurassic seas, a Tanistropheus stretches its impossibly long neck toward a school of squid. Its neck is longer than its body and tail combined, composed of only a few greatly elongated vertebrae. It sits on the rocky seafloor, its body anchored while its head moves like a fishing line through the flow. The liquid is clear and cool, reflecting the silver scales of its prey. This strange reptile is a master of ambush, using its neck to reach into crevices and caves without moving its bulk. The Tanistropheus is a testament to the diversity of the Jurassic, an era where life explored every possible niche. The soft pulse of the tide moves its long neck back and forth, a gentle motion that mimics the swaying of seaweed. The deep silence of the ocean floor is a sanctuary for this ancient hunter. In the Cretaceous forests of China, the Yiqi flits through the shadows of the ginkgo trees. This tiny dinosaur possesses wings made of skin, stretched between its fingers, and a unique wrist bone, much like a bat. It is a feathered creature with the wings of a dragon, a strange hybrid of forms that seems to belong in a myth. Its chirps are sharp and clear, echoing through the cool mountain mist. The Yiqi is a creature of the high branches, feeding on insects and small fruits in the twilight. Its feathers are dark and iridescent, catching the last rays of the sun as it disappears behind the peaks. The forest is a place of vibrant life, where the first flowers are beginning to bloom among the ferns. The scent of jasmine and wet pine hangs in the atmosphere, a sign of the changing seasons. On the island of Madagascar, the Beelzebufo, the devil frog, sits patiently by a dinosaur nesting ground. It is the size of a beach ball, with a mouth wide enough to swallow a hatchling whole. The humid heat of the Cretaceous night is thick and heavy, filled with the drone of giant dragonflies. The frog remains perfectly still, its mottled skin blending into the leaf litter. The Beelzebufo is a formidable predator, its powerful jaws capable of a crushing grip. It waits for the smallest movement, its golden eyes reflecting the stars above. The forest is alive with the sounds of the night, from the low rumble of a distant titanosaur to the rustle of small mammals in the brush. This is a world of giants, where even a frog can be a king of the undergrowth. In the Eocene epoch, the Ambulocetus swims through the coastal swamps of what is now Pakistan. It is a whale that can walk, a creature with 4 legs and a powerful tail designed for the sea. It moves through the brackish flow with a slow, undulating motion, its eyes and nostrils positioned high on its head. The warmth of the Eocene climate is felt in every ripple of the liquid. The Ambulocetus represents a bridge between the land and the deep, a moment in time when the ancestors of the great whales still felt the earth beneath their feet. It rests in the shallows, its heavy body supported by the buoyancy of the brine. The scent of the ocean is strong here, a calling that its descendants will eventually follow into the open blue. The transition is slow, measured by the passing of millions of years. In the Miocene of South America, the Thylacosmilus stalks the pampas with its massive saber-like canines. Unlike the more famous saber-toothed cats, this is a marsupial carrying its young in a pouch. Its teeth are ever growing, protected by long sheaths of bone that descend from its lower jaw. The tall grasses of the savanna sway in the wind, a golden ocean that hides the predator's approach. The Thylacosmilus is a specialist, its entire anatomy designed for a single, lethal strike. It moves with a quiet, feline grace, despite its different ancestry. The landscape is vast and open, a domain of giant sloths and armored glyptodonts. The sun sets in a blaze of crimson and purple, casting long shadows across the plains as the hunter finds its rest. In the Pliocene of East Africa, a Dinotherium grazes on the high branches of a woodland. Its tusks do not grow from the upper jaw, but curve downward from the lower, used for stripping bark and digging for roots. It is a giant of its time, a relative of the elephants with a profile that seems upside down. The air is dry and carries the scent of acacia and sun-baked earth. The Dinotherium moves with a slow, rhythmic stride, its massive weight cushioned by thick pads on its feet. It is a peaceful giant, content to wander the edges of the growing Rift Valley. The calls of early hominids echo from the distant cliffs, a sound that marks the beginning of a new chapter in history. The landscape is changing as the forests give way to the sprawling grasslands of the future. Finally, in the Pleistocene of South America, the Macrauchenia grazes on the cold, windswept plains. It is a creature that defies easy classification, with the body of a camel and a short, muscular trunk like a tapir. Its three-toed feet leave deep impressions in the frost-covered soil. The atmosphere is crisp and clear, filled with the scent of dry grass and approaching snow. The Macrauchenia is a survivor of an isolated continent, a relic of a lineage that flourished in the southern hemisphere. It moves with a strange, high-stepping gait, its trunk twitching as it sniffs for the scent of predators. The mountains of the Andes rise in the distance, their peaks covered in eternal ice. This is a world of ice and wind, where every creature must find its own path to survive. As the sun dips below the horizon, the Macrauchenia finds shelter in a shallow valley, away from the biting wind. The stars emerge in the darkening sky, cold and brilliant in the thin atmosphere. The world is settling into a deep, quiet sleep as the long journey through the strangest paths of evolution brings us toward the dawn of a new era. We leave the frozen plains of the south, traveling back through the layers of time to a humid expanse of the Carboniferous period. Here, in the lush coal forests of what will become North America, the atmosphere is saturated with oxygen, fueling the growth of giants. The scent of decaying wood and damp moss is thick, filling the lungs with a richness that feels almost tangible. Moving through the undergrowth of giant club mosses, a creature of immense proportions emerges from the leaf litter. The Arthropleura, a millipede the size of a small car, ripples across the forest floor with a mesmerizing, undulating pace. Its segmented body is a marvel of biological engineering, each plate clicking softly against the next as it navigates the tangled roots. This invertebrate giant is a peaceful herbivore, feeding on the fallen debris of lepidodendron trees that tower overhead. The forest is a cathedral of green, where the light filters through the canopy in dusty shafts of gold and emerald. There is no noise of birds or mammals here, only the low hum of insects and the sigh of the wind through the ferns. Nearby, perched upon a rotting log, a Pulmonoscorpius waits in the half-light of the late afternoon. It is a scorpion of staggering size, its stinger poised over its back like a dark, curved sickle. The creature is perfectly still, a statue of chitin and intent, watching for the movement of smaller prey in the shadows. As the ages turn and the oxygen levels drift toward a new balance, we find ourselves in the middle Permian of the Ural Mountains. The landscape is a mosaic of seasonal floodplains and dense woodlands, where the climate is becoming increasingly arid. Here, the Asteminosuchus wanders the banks of a slow-moving river, its head adorned with bizarre, bony protrusions. These crowned crocodiles are not crocodiles at all, but early relatives of mammals, possessing a mix of reptilian and mammalian features. Their skin is smooth and perhaps glandular, glistening in the fading light as they splash through the shallows. The protrusions on their snouts may have been used for display, a strange fashion statement in a time of transition. The journey continues into the Triassic period, along the shores of the Tethys Ocean in what is now Europe. The shoreline is a jagged edge of limestone and salt, where the heat of the sun is tempered by the cool breath of the sea. Resting on a sun-warmed rock is the Tanistropheus, a reptile with a neck of impossible length. Its neck, composed of only 12 elongated vertebrae, stretches out like a fishing pole over the surface of the tide. The creature remains motionless, its small head hovering just above the ripples, waiting for a flash of silver beneath the waves. It is a specialist of the shallows, an evolutionary gamble that allowed it to hunt without ever leaving the safety of the land. We shift our gaze to the Middle Jurassic of China, where the forests are filled with the scent of ginkgo and conifer. In the dimness of the evening, a small, feathered form glides between the trunks. This is Yi-Chi, a dinosaur that abandoned the standard avian path to develop wings of skin, much like a bat. Its long, rod-like bones extend from its wrists, supporting a membrane that catches the cooling currents of the night. It lands with a soft scratch of claws against bark, its large eyes reflecting the faint glow of bioluminescent fungi on the forest floor. This strange experiment in flight is a reminder that nature often tries many keys before finding the one that fits. In the late Cretaceous of the Gobi Desert, the heat of the day has surrendered to a chilly, starlit peace. A Therizinosaurus moves through a grove of desert shrubs, its massive, 3-foot-long claws glinting in the moonlight. Despite its terrifying appearance, this giant is a gentle browser, using its scythe-like appendages to pull down high branches. Its body is covered in a coat of shaggy, primitive feathers, insulating it against the temperature drop of the desert night. The creature moves with a weighted, deliberate step, its pot-bellied frame a testament to a diet of tough, fibrous plants. The silence of the dunes is absolute, broken only by the occasional snap of a twig or the soft hoot of a distant predator. The tides of time pull us forward into the Eocene epoch, to the Tethys Sea that once covered parts of North Africa. The warmth of the tropical ocean is inviting its depths, teeming with life that is beginning to look familiar. Moving through the blue murk is the Basilosaurus, a whale that looks more like a sea serpent than a modern cetacean. Its body is incredibly long and slender, undulating through the current with an elegant serpentine motion. Near the end of its tail, 2 tiny vestigial hind legs remain, a lingering memory of its ancestors' life on land. These limbs are far too small to aid in swimming, yet they persist, a biological footnote in the history of the deep. The Basilosaurus is a formidable hunter, its jaws lined with teeth designed for shearing through fish and smaller whales. As it rises to the surface to breathe, the spray from its blowhole catches the light of the rising moon. The ocean is a place of endless mystery, where the paths of evolution often lead back into the cradle of the waves. We travel to the Oligocene of Mongolia, a land of open plains and scattered woodlands. The atmosphere is crisp, carrying the scent of dry earth and pine needles. Here, the Paraceratherium, the largest land mammal to ever live, reaches for the highest leaves of a deciduous tree. It stands nearly 5 meters at the shoulder, its long neck allowing it to browse where no other creature can reach. Its skin is thick and wrinkled, like the bark of the trees it feeds upon, providing protection against the thorns and the sun. The giant moves with a slow, majestic grace, its presence a calm anchor in the shifting landscape. In the Miocene of North America, the Synthetoceras grazes in the tall grass of the prairies. This relative of the camel bears a strange Y-shaped horn on its snout, in addition to the more traditional horns above its eyes. The purpose of this elaborate headgear is a mystery, perhaps used for jousting or simply to attract a mate in the wide open spaces. The golden light of the late afternoon bathes the prairie in a warm glow as the herd moves in a slow, coordinated pattern. The scent of wild sage is carried on the breeze, a sharp and pleasant aroma that defines this era of transition. The Synthetoceras is a creature of balance, perfectly adapted to a world that is becoming more open and seasonal. As the shadows lengthen and the first stars begin to twinkle in the vast expanse above, we prepare to move further into the mysteries of the past. Each of these strange paths is a story of survival, a testament to the endless creativity of life. The journey is far from over as we turn our gaze toward the hidden corners of the world that still hold their secrets. Deep within the heart of the continents, new forms are taking shape, ready to challenge our understanding of what is possible. We drift now across the widening Atlantic toward the isolated splendor of South America, a continent that remained an island for tens of millions of years. This seclusion birthed a laboratory of the strange where nature experimented with forms found nowhere else on the planet. The currents below are cool and deep, carrying the legacy of a landscape that has been separate for an eternity. The salt spray brushes against our senses as we approach the shores of a lost era. The landscape is lush and vibrant, filled with the calls of creatures that defy modern classification. It is a place of endless curiosity where the isolation has allowed for the most peculiar of evolutionary paths. In the cooling twilight of the Santa Cruz Plains, a group of Macrauchinia grazes near a slow-moving stream. These creatures possess the body of a tall camel, but their feet are three-toed and sturdy, like those of a rhinoceros. Most peculiar is their face, where a short prehensile trunk twitches, sampling the evening breeze for the scent of approaching predators. The grass here is tall and golden, swaying in a gentle hypnotic motion. As the sun disappears, the animal moves with a swaying gait, its long neck reaching for the tender shoots of the local flora. It is a creature of balance, perfectly adapted to a world that is both familiar and deeply alien. From the shadows of the tall pampas grass, a Thylacos milus watches its amber eyes, fixed on the grazing herd. Though it resembles a saber-toothed cat, this hunter is a marsupial carrying its young in a protective pouch. Its massive blade-like canines are protected by deep, bony sheaths that extend downward from its lower jaw, giving it a profile unlike any predator today. It remains perfectly still, a statue of muscle and intent hidden in the darkening foliage. The predator does not rush, but waits for the perfect moment to strike. Its patience is a testament to the harsh realities of life in this isolated paradise. The marsupial predator moves with a deliberate, quiet grace, its paws pressing softly into the damp earth. It does not possess the explosive speed of a feline, but its persistence is legendary, a slow shadow trailing the ungulates through the fading light. The atmosphere here is thick with the scent of crushed clover and the mineral tang of the nearby Andes. Every breath it takes is shallow and controlled as it navigates the complex terrain. The hunt is a slow dance of survival and strategy played out under the watchful gaze of the rising moon. The stars begin to flicker in the purple expanse above the grassy sea. We move across the globe to the Miocene islands of the Mediterranean, specifically the Gargano Peninsula, which was then an isolated landmass. In this restricted space, the rules of size are rewritten, leading to the rise of the giant hedgehog, Dinogalerix. This insectivore has grown to the size of a modern dog, its long snout probing the leaf litter for snails and small lizards. The forest floor is a carpet of decaying oak leaves and damp moss, muffling the creature's progress. It is a world where the small have become large and the familiar has become extraordinary. The humidity clings to the trees, creating a soft, damp environment for the giant to thrive. Its coat is a coarse mixture of hair and stiff bristles, providing a modest defense against the avian hunters that circle above. The Dinogalerix moves with a series of quick, measured sniffs, its ears twitching at the slightest vibration in the undergrowth. Here, in the absence of large mammalian carnivores, the humble hedgehog has claimed the role of a top predator. The moonlight filters through the canopy in thin silver needles, illuminating the creature's path. It pauses to investigate a fallen log, its keen senses detecting the movement of a hidden beetle. The cycle of life continues in the murk of the forest floor on the nearby island of Sicily. The opposite phenomenon takes hold as we encounter the dwarf elephant Paleoloxodon falconeri. These majestic proboscideans stand no taller than a human waist, their tiny tusks curving gracefully toward the ground. They wander through the scrubland, their footsteps making only a faint thud on the sun-baked soil. The scent of wild thyme and sea salt hangs in the evening, a refreshing contrast to the heat of the day. They move in small family groups, their trunks intertwined as they navigate the rocky terrain. Their size is a perfect adaptation to the limited resources of their island home. The miniature elephants are social creatures, huddling together as the moon rises over the limestone cliffs. Their small size is a testament to the flexibility of the mammalian blueprint, a story of survival in a changing environment. The cool evening mist rolls in from the Mediterranean, coating their wrinkled skin in a fine silver dew. They communicate in low, vibrating rumbles that are felt more than heard, a secret language of the small. The night is peaceful, the only noise being the gentle lapping of the water against the distant shore. They rest in the shadow of the cliffs, safe from the world outside. Our journey takes us further south and east to the lush rainforests of Riversley in northern Australia. The canopy is a dense weave of vines and broad leaves, trapping the humidity of the tropical day. Below the emerald ceiling, the thylacoleo, or marsupial lion, climbs with powerful clawed limbs. The bark of the giant trees is rough and textured, providing an easy grip for the predator as it ascends into the heights. It is a creature of the trees, a hunter that strikes from above with lethal precision. The atmosphere is alive with the hum of insects and the distant calls of exotic birds. This hunter possesses the strongest bite force of any mammal for its size, with specialized premolars that act like bolt cutters. It does not have the long canines of a cat, but its thumb is equipped with a massive retractable claw for gripping prey. It waits in the high branches, a silent sentinel in the cooling, humid atmosphere. The calls of tree frogs create a steady, pulsing background, a chorus of hidden lives in the dim light. The thylacoleo is a master of camouflage, its fur blending with the dappled light of the rainforest. It is a predator of the shadows, a ghost in the green machine. In the nearby pools, the obdurodon, a giant ancestor of the platypus, glides through the current. Unlike its modern relative, this creature still possesses functional teeth, allowing it to crush the shells of freshwater crustaceans. Its bill is sensitive to the electrical pulses of life, navigating the murky depths with uncanny precision. The flow of the river is a gentle murmur, a constant presence in the heart of the forest. The obdurodon surfaces briefly to breathe, the ripples spreading in wide silver circles across the skin of the water. It is a relic of a time when the lines between species were still being drawn. Returning to South America as the Pliocene draws to a close, we find the great terror birds, the phorusrhacids. The Titanis stands over 2 meters tall, its massive hooked beak designed for a single devastating strike. It stalks the grasslands with the confidence of a dinosaur, its powerful legs capable of outrunning almost any contemporary. The wind whistles through its feathers, a low and mournful note that carries across the boundless plains. It is a formidable sight, a reminder that the age of reptiles has left a lasting legacy in the form of these avian giants. The sun sets behind it, casting a long, jagged shadow across the earth. The bird remains perfectly still, its feathers ruffled by a sudden gust of wind that smells of dry grass and ozone. It is a remnant of a primordial lineage of avian predators that dominated the continent for millions of years. As the light dips below the horizon, its silhouette is a sharp, jagged line against the purple sky. The first stars start to appear, cold and distant observers of this changing landscape. The Titanus lets out a low, guttural hiss, a sound that has echoed through the ages. It is a creature of the open spaces, a hunter that knows no fear. The land bridge of Panama is forming, allowing species from the north to drift southward for the first time. We witness the arrival of the first bears and dogs, strange newcomers to a land that has known only marsupials and unique ungulates. The tension in the ecosystem is palpable, a slow-motion collision of two different biological worlds. The scent of pine and northern forests starts to mingle with the tropical heat of the south. The landscape is in a state of flux as new predators and prey begin to interact. It is the start of a grand exchange that will reshape the continent forever. Among the residents of the south, the Glyptodon remains unbothered, a mountain of bone and keratin. This relative of the armadillo is the size of a small car, its body encased in a rigid domed carapace. Its tail ends in a weighted spiked club, a deterrent to any predator foolish enough to test its defenses. The creature moves with a slow, grinding pace, its head tucked low as it shears through tough vegetation. The weight of its armor makes every step a deliberate act, a pulse of power that resonates through the soft soil. It is a living fortress, a testament to the power of defense. It finds a place to rest near a grove of palms, the moonlight reflecting off the intricate patterns of its shell. The night is quiet, save for the occasional rustle of the palms and the distant call of a predator. The Glyptodon is a survivor of 1,000,000 seasons, its form unchanged by the arrival of the newcomers. It ignores the shifting tides of the ecosystem, secure in its impenetrable armor. The air is cool and still, the scent of damp earth rising from the ground. The giant closes its eyes, its breathing a slow and steady measure of the passing time. Nearby, the Josephoartigacia, the largest rodent to ever exist, nibbles on fallen fruit. It is the size of a bull with large incisors that it uses both for feeding and defense against the new predators from the north. Despite its bulk, it moves with a surprising lightness, its whiskers twitching in the cool night breath. The fruit is sweet and overripe, its scent dense in the humid shadows of the riverbank. It is a creature of the water's edge, a gentle giant that has found a niche in this land of wonders. The rodent pauses to listen, its large ears catching the murmur of the river. The ecosystem is a tapestry of the familiar and the alien, a moment in time where the time-honored residents meet the future. The calls of the night birds echo through the river valleys, a haunting melody that marks the passing of an era. The landscape is changing, the climate cooling, yet life continues. Its relentless search for a way forward. Every shadow holds a story, a memory of a path taken, or a branch of life that has ended. The stars shine with a quiet intensity, illuminating the path for those who seek to understand the past. we are witnesses to the grand design of nature. As we move toward the dawn of the Pleistocene, the ice starts to gather in the far north and south. The region is tightening its grip, forcing creatures to adapt or vanish into the strata of the earth. We follow the cooling winds across the plains where the first mammoths are starting to leave their mark on the frozen tundra. The ground is hard and unyielding, a new challenge for those who walk upon it. The era of the giants is reaching its peak as the world prepares for the deep cold. The transition is slow and inevitable, a shift in the very fabric of the landscape. The stars above shine with a cold, piercing clarity, watching over a planet in the midst of a grand transformation. Our path leads us now toward the frost-covered horizons, where the giants of the Ice Age wait to tell their own stories of endurance. The journey continues into the heart of the cold, where the strangest of paths are yet to be discovered. We leave the warmth of the tropical forests and the isolated islands behind, moving toward a future that is written in ice. The silence of the tundra beckons, a new chapter in the history of life. The world is turning, and we turn with it. The frost creeps across the southern plains, turning the tall grasses into brittle glass. We stand in the twilight of the late Pleistocene, where the wind carries the scent of distant glaciers. The landscape is a mosaic of golden fields and dark brooding forests of southern beech. Above us the stars are sharp and clear, points of silver in a sky of deep indigo. A shadow moves through the brush, a shape so large it seems to belong to a different age. This is the megatherium, the giant ground sloth, a creature of impossible proportions. It stands on its hind legs, reaching for the higher branches, its claws like iron hooks pulling down the foliage. The crunch of wood and leaf is the only noise in the moonlit stillness. Its fur is thick and matted, a tangled forest of coarse hair that protects it from the biting chill. It moves with a deliberate slow grace, its massive weight shifting from one side to the other. There is no hurry in its existence, for its size is its shield, and the earth provides all it needs. The creature exhales a cloud of white mist that hangs for a moment in the freezing atmosphere. Nearby, a group of Macrauchinia grazes by the edge of a silver stream. They are strange hybrid forms, with the bodies of camels and the trunks of elephants. Their long necks sway as they move their three-toed feet, leaving deep impressions in the soft mud. The flow of the stream is a soft murmur, reflecting the pale light of the rising moon. The Macrauchinia uses its short trunk to pluck the choicest greens from the riverbank. It is a relic of a lineage that has no modern equals, a unique solution to the problems of survival. Its eyes are large and liquid, watching the shadows for any sign of the great cats that roam these plains. The night is a time of caution, even for those who seem so well defended. Across the great ocean, in the vastness of the Eurasian steppe, another giant makes its way through the snow. The Elasmotherium, the Siberian unicorn, is a rhino of immense scale with a single massive horn rising from its forehead. The horn is a spear of bone nearly 2 meters long, a symbol of its power and its mystery. It tramples the frozen earth, its breath a rhythmic pulse of warmth in the cold night. The steppe is a sea of white, broken only by the dark shapes of stunted pines. The Elasmotherium grazes on the tough grasses buried beneath the snow, its powerful neck muscles working with tireless strength. It is a solitary wanderer, a ghost of the Ice Age, moving through a landscape that is both beautiful and harsh. The stars above seem to watch its progress with a cold, uncaring light. In the deep woods of Western Europe, the megaloceros, the Irish elk, moves with a regal grace. Its antlers are a sprawling crown spanning 12 feet from tip to tip, a weight that it carries with effortless poise. It navigates the dense thicket with a precision that defies its size, its hooves clicking softly on the frozen ground. The dimness of the forest is alive with the scent of pine and damp moss. The elk pauses to listen, its large ears twitching at the murmur of a distant owl. It is a creature of the edges, finding its home in the transition between the deep forest and the open meadows. Its coat is a rich brown, blending perfectly with the shadows of the trees. The megaloceros is a master of its domain, a silent guardian of the cooling world. Far to the south, in the island continent of Australia, the night is filled with the calls of creatures unlike any others. The diprotodon, a giant marsupial the size of a rhinoceros, grazes on the saltbush. It moves with a slow, rolling gait, its pouch a warm sanctuary for its young. The landscape is a tapestry of red earth and silvery shrubs illuminated by the light of the Southern Cross. In the branches above, the thylacoleo, the marsupial lion, waits with a patient intensity. It is a predator of the shadows with retractable claws and teeth designed for the hunt. Its eyes glow with a pale fire as it watches the movement of the giants below. The atmosphere is thick with the scent of eucalyptus and the dry, dusty earth. The thylacoleo is a marvel of adaptation, a carnivore born from a lineage of leaf-eaters. It moves with a silent, lethal grace, its body a coil of muscle ready to strike. The night is its ally, a cloak that hides its presence from the unwary. The balance of the ecosystem is a delicate thing, a dance of life and death played out in the silver light. In the river valleys of North America, the Castoroides, the giant beaver, builds its home. It is the size of a black bear, with incisors 6 inches long, capable of felling the largest trees. The noise of its work is a steady thud, echoing through the mist-covered marshes. The lodge it builds is a fortress of mud and wood, a monument to its industry. The giant beaver is a master of the shallows, its webbed feet pushing it through the water with a quiet strength. It is a creature of the wetlands, a shaper of the landscape, creating ponds that support a multitude of life. The scent of damp wood and stagnant water is a familiar comfort in the cooling night. The moon reflects on the surface of the pool a mirror of the changing world. Near the edge of the great ice sheets, the Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, prowls the frozen tundra. Its fangs are long curved blades designed for a single decisive strike. It moves with a powerful, low-slung grace, its tawny fur providing warmth against the biting wind. The Smilodon is a specialist, a hunter of the megafauna that roam these northern lands. It follows the trail of a mammoth herd, its nose twitching at the scent of warm bodies in the cold. The mammoth is a mountain of fur and bone, a challenge even for a predator as formidable as the Smilodon. The hunt is a slow, patient game, a test of endurance and skill. The stars are the only witnesses to the ancient drama unfolding on the ice. On the isolated island of Madagascar, the Aepyornis, the elephant bird, wanders through the dense foliage. It is a flightless giant, standing 10 feet tall, its eggs the largest ever known. It moves with a slow, rhythmic pace, its massive legs carrying it through the undergrowth. The forest is a riot of green, even in the dim light of the moon. The elephant bird is a peaceful giant feeding on the fruits and seeds of the island trees. It has no natural predators here in this isolated paradise, a world that has followed its own unique path. The call of the Aepionis is a low, booming note that resonates through the trees, a sound that has echoed for 1,000,000 years. The island is a sanctuary, a place where time seems to stand still. In the mountains of New Zealand, the moa, another giant of the bird world, grazes on the alpine grasses. It is a creature of the heights, its feathers, thick and hair-like, protecting it from the mountain chill. The moa moves with a stately grace, its long neck, reaching for the tender shoots of the tussock grass. The landscape is a rugged expanse of stone and snow, a world of stark beauty. As the night deepens, the world of the Pleistocene settles into a quiet rest. The giants of the Ice Age find their places of shelter, their breathing a slow, steady measure of the passing hours. The ice continues its slow advance, a white shroud that will eventually claim many of these paths. Yet for now the life of this era persists, a testament to the endless variety of the evolutionary journey. The shadows lengthen and the stars begin to fade as the first light of dawn touches the horizon. We leave these giants to their slumber, moving toward the next chapter of our journey through time. The path leads us toward the end of the Great Cold, where the world will once again transform into something new. The story of life is far from over, its strangest paths still waiting to be explored in the light of a new day. We move now across the widening oceans to a land that remained apart for tens of millions of years. South America, an island continent where evolution took a path unlike any other. Here in the Miocene, the sun rises over the pampas, casting long shadows across the tall grasses. The landscape is a sea of amber and gold, swaying gently in the warm breeze. A group of Macrauchinia grazes near the edge of a slow-moving stream. They are strange, hybrid-looking creatures with the bodies of camels and the feet of rhinoceroses. Their most striking feature is a short, muscular trunk which they use to pluck the choicest leaves from the scrubby trees. It is a design that seems out of place, yet it serves them well in this isolated realm. The flow of the stream is quiet, a soft murmur against the bank. Nearby, the Thylacos milus watches from the cover of the tall reeds. This is not the saber-toothed cat of the north, but a marsupial, a creature that carries its young in a pouch. Its fangs are even longer than those of its northern namesake, extending deep into its lower jaw. It is a specialist, a predator of the odd, hoofed mammals that roam these plains. The atmosphere is thick, with the scent of sun-warmed earth and wild herbs. The Thylacos milus moves with a cautious, silent grace, its weight distributed on powerful limbs. It does not hunt with speed, but with ambush, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Its eyes are fixed on a young Macrauchinia that has strayed from the herd. The pulse of the hunt is slow, a patient tension that hangs in the humid haze. The landscape offers many places for a killer to hide. In the distance, the Phorus rhacos, the terror bird, stands as a sentinel on a rocky outcrop. It is a flightless predator of immense size, with a beak like a sharpened axe. Its legs are long and powerful, built for chasing down the swiftest prey across the open plains. The bird tilts its head, listening for the faint scuttle of a small mammal in the brush. Its feathers are a mottled brown, blending with the dry grass. The call of the terror bird is a sharp, rattling cry that echoes across the valley. It is a warning to others of its kind, a claim on this territory. The other creatures of the pampas take note, shifting their positions in response to the predator's presence. The ecological cycle here is a delicate balance of strange forms and specialized roles. This era is a golden age for the unique and the unusual. As the sun begins its descent toward the horizon, the sky turns a deep, bruised purple. The Glyptodon, a relative of the armadillo, the size of a small car, moves toward a shallow pool. Its body is encased in a dome of bony plates, a fortress against the teeth of any predator. It grazes on the soft plants at the edge of the pool, its heavy tail dragging in the mud. The mud is cool and inviting after the heat of the day. The Glyptodon is a slow, methodical feeder, its small head barely visible beneath its armored shell. It is a creature of simple needs and formidable defenses, a testament to the success of the unconventional. The skin of the pool reflects the first stars as they appear in the darkening sky. The stillness of the evening is broken only by the occasional splash of a fish or the hum of an insect. This region is a cradle of biodiversity protected by its oceanic borders. Higher up in the rising peaks of the Andes, the Argentavis, the largest flying bird to ever live, prepares for flight. Its wingspan is 24 feet, a span that allows it to catch the rising thermals of the mountain air. It launches itself from a high ledge, soaring on the currents with effortless ease. From this height, the entire continent seems to stretch out forever, a tapestry of green and gold. The chill of the high altitude is a sharp contrast to the warmth of the plains. The Argentavis scans the ground far below, its keen eyes searching for any sign of carrion. It is a scavenger, a giant that cleanses the land of its dead. Its shadow passes like a cloud over the forests and the rivers, a silent ghost of the sky. The mountains are young, still rising toward the heavens, their jagged peaks a barrier to the clouds. The wind whistles through the feathers of the great bird, a lonely, haunting note. Down in the humid forests of the Amazon basin, the Paraphazornis, another terror bird, stalks through the shadows. This species is more robust, built for power rather than speed in the dense undergrowth. It moves through the ferns and the palms, its heavy beak ready to crush bone and sinew. The forest floor is a carpet of decaying leaves and vibrant fungi, a world of constant growth and decay. The humidity is a weighted presence, clinging to every leaf and branch. The Paraphazornis pauses, its head cocked to one side. It hears the rustle of a toxodon, a large rhino-like herbivore moving through the thicket. The toxodon is a common sight in these forests, a sturdy animal that feeds on both land and in the water. It is a creature of many habitats, its broad feet providing stability in the swampy ground. The interaction between predator and prey is a slow dance, played out in the half-light of the canopy. As night takes hold of the continent, the bioluminescent fungi on the forest floor begin to glow. They emit a soft green light, illuminating the roots of the giant trees. The nocturnal creatures stir from their daytime haunts, their eyes reflecting the dim luminescence. The Josephoartigasia, a rodent the size of a bull, emerges from its burrow near the riverbank. It moves to the edge of the current to feed on the aquatic plants. The giant rodent is a peaceful herbivore despite its intimidating size. It shares the river with the caimans and the giant turtles, a community that has thrived in isolation for eons. The flow of the river is a constant, steady pulse, a lifeline for the inhabitants of the basin. The stars are bright in the clear sky. Over the forest, a distant map of the heavens. The peace of the night is a deep restorative calm. In the limestone caves of the southern hills, the Thylacolchos finds shelter for the night. It curls up in the dimness, its long fangs tucked safely against its chest. The cave is cool and dry, a sanctuary from the predators and the elements. Outside, the wind moans through the scrubland, a sound of the changing seasons. The continent is shifting, moving slowly toward the north, toward a collision that will change everything. The first signs of the change are subtle. A new type of plant, a different scent in the breeze. The land bridge is forming a narrow strip of earth that will connect the two Americas. Soon the northern invaders will arrive, the wolves, the bears, and the true cats. The unique world of South America will face its greatest challenge, a test of survival in a changing landscape. But for now, the isolated giants remain the masters of their domain. The moon hangs low over the pampas, a silver disk that lights the way for the wanderers. The Smilodon populator, a massive cat from the north, makes its first appearance on the southern plains. It is a formidable rival for the Thylacolchos, a predator of equal power and different tactics. The meeting of these two lineages is a pivotal moment in the history of the continent. The shadows of the two cats stretch out across the grass, a symbol of the coming transition. The climate is also changing, becoming cooler and drier as the Ice Age approaches. The lush forests are shrinking, giving way to more open grasslands. The creatures of the Miocene must adapt or fade away as the world transforms. The story of evolution is one of constant movement and reinvention. We watch as the old world of South America slowly merges with the new, a process that will take millions of years. The night is long and the stars are many in this age of transition. We leave the pampas and the forests as the first light of a new era touches the peaks of the Andes. The path of evolution has taken us through a world of wonders and strange forms. Now we move forward toward the next stage of our journey, where the world will be reshaped once again. The echoes of the terror birds and the saber-tooths follow us into the morning. The morning light of the Pleistocene touches the white cliffs of the Mediterranean islands as the sea levels fluctuate with the growing ice in the north. We move away from the great land masses to the isolated sanctuaries where evolution has taken a different, slower path. Here the rules of size and form are rewritten by the boundaries of the coast. On the island of Sicily, the landscape is a mosaic of dwarf forests and rocky outcrops, bathed in the soft lavender glow of the dawn. Among the small, twisted trees, a herd of elephants moves, with a quiet grace, though they are unlike any giants you have known. These are the dwarf elephants, no taller than a pony. Their forms perfectly miniaturized for life on a limited range. They browse on the low branches, their trunks delicate and precise as they pluck the tender leaves. The atmosphere is filled with the scent of wild herbs and the salt spray of the nearby sea. In this secluded place, the large have become small, and the small have grown beyond their usual measure. Near a quiet pool, a giant swan stands, as tall as a man, its wings wide and powerful in the dim light. It does not fly, for there are no predators here to flee from on the ground. The bird moves with a slow, deliberate pace through the reeds, its orange beak dipping into the flow to find submerged plants. As we drift further east to the island of Malta, the shadows of the limestone caves offer a cool refuge from the rising sun. Inside the murk, a giant dormouse, the size of a cat, stirs from its sleep, its long tail twitching in the stillness. It scampers across the floor of the cavern, its claws clicking softly on the stone. The isolation of these islands has created a world of wonders where the familiar becomes the strange. On the island of Crete, the dwarf hippopotamus wallows in the muddy shallows of a mountain stream. It is a compact creature built for navigating the steep terrain and rocky paths of its home. The movement of the stream is a gentle murmur against the silence of the highlands. The creature exhales a soft puff of breath as it rests its head on a mossy bank. We leave the Mediterranean behind and travel south to the great island of Madagascar, a land that has been separate from the mainland for 80 million years. Here the evolution of life has produced forms that exist nowhere else on the earth. The forest is a dense tapestry of baobabs and strange spiny plants, silhouetted against the deep indigo of the night sky. In the half-light, the elephant bird moves through the undergrowth, a flightless giant of immense proportions. It stands nearly 10 feet tall, its legs thick as tree trunks, its feathers a shaggy coat of brown and grey. The bird is a peaceful browser, its presence a reminder of the diversity that thrives in solitude. The ground trembles slightly with each of its weighted steps, a slow pulse in the heart of the forest. High in the canopy, the giant, Lemur megaladapis, clings to a thick branch, its movements sluggish and methodical. It is the size of a female gorilla with a face that resembles a koala and powerful limbs for climbing. The primate reaches for a cluster of fruit, its fingers long and curved for a steady grip. The stillness of the canopy is broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant call of a nocturnal bird. Below, on the forest floor, the sloth lemur hangs, suspended from a low bough, its body draped in a thick layer of fur. It moves with an effortless slow motion, a creature of the shadows and the quiet hours. The scent of damp earth and decaying wood is weighted in the atmosphere, a sign of the cycle of life and rebirth. This island is a sanctuary for the archaic and the unique, a place where time seems to stand still. We cross the Indian Ocean to the island of Flores in the Indonesian archipelago, where the sun sets behind the volcanic peaks. In the long shadows of the tropical forest, a group of small humans moves through the brush, their movements quick and silent. These are the hobbits of the Pleistocene, a distinct lineage that has adapted to the limited resources of the island. They carry simple tools of stone, their eyes keen in the fading light. Nearby, a herd of dwarf sticodons, the size of large cattle, grazes on the ferns, their tusks short and curved. They are the primary prey for the small hunters, a relationship that has endured for thousands of years. The forest is alive with the hum of insects and the damp heat of the tropics. The balance of the ecosystem is delicate, a finely tuned measure of survival. In the clearing, a giant stork stands, motionless, its height rivaling that of the small humans, its beak a formidable weapon. It watches for any movement in the grass, a silent sentinel of the twilight. The bird is a relic of a different age, a predator that has found a niche in this isolated world. the silver light of the moon begins to wash over the landscape, turning the green leaves to shades of grey. We travel far to the north, to the frozen shores of Wrangel Island, in the Arctic Ocean, where the last of the mammoths remain. Long after, their kin have vanished from the mainland. These dwarf mammoths survive in the cold isolation of the tundra. They are smaller than their ancestors, their woolly coats thick and matted against the biting wind. The landscape is a sprawling expanse of ice and snow under the shimmering curtain of the aurora borealis. The mammoths huddle together for warmth, their breath forming white clouds in the freezing atmosphere. They dig through the snow with their tusks to find the dry grasses buried beneath. The silence of the Arctic is profound, broken only by the moan of the wind and the creak of the sea ice. These are the final survivors of a once great empire, a lonely outpost of the Ice Age. Moving toward the southern hemisphere, we reach the islands of New Zealand, a land of birds and ancient reptiles. In the dense fern forests, the moa, a giant, flightless bird, browses. On the high branches, its neck long and flexible. It has no wings at all, a complete loss of flight in a world without land mammals. The bird moves with a steady gait, its large feet leaving deep prints in the soft moss. Above, the Haast's eagle, the largest eagle ever to exist, circles in the thermal currents, its eyes fixed on the forest floor. It is a predator of immense power, capable of taking down the great moa with its massive talons. The shadow of the eagle glides over the trees, a silent threat in the bright sky. The forest is a vibrant green sanctuary, where the birds are the masters of the land and the sky. On the forest floor, the tuatara, a reptile from the age of dinosaurs, sits motionless on a mossy log. It is a living fossil, its lineage stretching back over 200 million years. The creature breathes slowly, its golden eyes reflecting the dappled light of the canopy. The peace of the island is a timeless quality, a remnant of a world that has elsewhere passed away. We cross the Tasman Sea to the continent of Australia, a land of marsupial giants and strange reptiles. In the open woodlands, the Diprotodon, the largest marsupial to ever live, moves like a slow, heavy rhinoceros. It is a massive herbivore, its body covered in thick fur, its face broad and blunt. The creature feeds on the saltbush and shrubs, its presence a dominant force in the landscape. In the shadows of the eucalyptus trees, the thylacoleo, the marsupial lion waits in ambush, its powerful forelimbs ready to strike. It is a predator, with specialized teeth for slicing through flesh, a unique evolution of a herbivorous ancestry. The atmosphere is warm and dry, with the scent of eucalyptus oil hanging in the stillness. The night is coming, and the creatures of the outback prepare for the change in the light. Across the dusty plains, the megalania, a giant monitor lizard the size of a crocodile, basks in the final rays of the sun. Its flicking tongue tastes the atmosphere, searching for the scent of prey or a rival. The lizard is a formidable hunter, a dragon of the Pleistocene that rules the dry interior. As the stars begin to appear in the vast southern sky, the world of the isolated giants transitions into a quiet rest. The path of evolution on these islands and continents has created a legacy of form and function that we continue to explore. Leaving the Australian outback, we drift across the expanse of the Pacific toward the continent of South America. For tens of millions of years, this land has remained isolated, a laboratory of evolution where nature has taken strange and beautiful turns. The morning light touches the pampas, a sea of golden grasses that ripples in the cool breeze. In the distance, the Andes are a jagged silhouette rising against the pale blue of the morning sky. This southern realm is home to the terror, birds, the apex predators of these sprawling plains. One such creature, Phorusrhacos, stands over 8 feet tall, its powerful legs designed for incredible speed. Its beak is a massive curved hook capable of crushing bone with a single strike. The bird moves with a calculated grace, its head bobbing slightly as it scans the horizon for movement. It is a descendant of dinosaurs that never gave up the hunt, even as the world changed around it. In the tall grass, the predator is nearly invisible, its feathers blending with the tawny hues of the vegetation. The atmosphere is filled with the scent of dry earth and the faint musk of animals grazing nearby. A light wind carries the seeds of the pampas grass across, the terrain like a soft silver mist. The terror bird waits in the shadow of a lone tree, its golden eyes sharp and focused. It is a relic of a time when birds ruled the land, a testament to the resilience of their archaic lineage. Nearby, a group of glyptodons moves slowly along the edge of a shallow river. These are the armored giants of the Miocene, their bodies encased in a solid dome of bone. Each shell is a mosaic of thousands of small plates, providing a defense that few predators can breach. The creatures browse on the low shrubs, their weighted tails dragging slightly in the soft mud. They are like living fortresses, moving with a steady, unhurried pace through the landscape. One of the glyptodons swings its tail, a massive club tipped with bony spikes, to deter an inquisitive scavenger. The vibration of the strike echoes through the river valley, a reminder of the power hidden within its slow frame. The stream flows gently over smooth stones, its current a constant soothing presence in the heat of the day. The liquid reflects the bright sun, creating dancing patterns of light on the underside of the trees. The armored herbivore drinks deeply, its broad muzzle disturbing the skin of the pool. Further along the bank, the Macrauchenia grazes on the succulent leaves of the water plants. This animal is a puzzle of evolution, with the body of a camel and a short, fleshy trunk like a tapir. Its long, slender legs end in 3 toes, allowing it to navigate the marshy ground with ease. The creature uses its trunk to grasp the vegetation, pulling it toward its mouth with a dexterous motion. It is a member of a long-vanished group of mammals that left no modern descendants. The Macrauchenia is a social animal, moving in small herds for protection across the open terrain. Their calls are a series of soft whistles and snorts that carry through the still atmosphere. The scent of the marsh is thick with the aroma of damp moss and decaying ferns. As the herd moves, the soft squelch of their feet in the mud is the only noise that breaks the peace. They are a strange and wonderful sight, a unique expression of the isolation of this continent. In the deep shadows of the woodland, the Thylacos milas waits, its presence a secret in the dimness. This is the marsupial saber-tooth, a predator that evolved its long canines independently of the northern cats. Its teeth are protected by long, bony sheaths that extend downward from its lower jaw. The creature is built for power rather than speed, with a thick, muscular neck and strong forelimbs. It is a specialist, a hunter of the thick-skinned herbivores that roam the forest edge. The Thylacosmilus breathes slowly, the warmth of its breath visible in the cool shade of the trees. Its fur is a mottled brown and grey, providing perfect camouflage against the bark and leaves. The predator does not move for hours, its patience a product of millions of years of adaptation. It is a silent ghost in the landscape, a reminder that evolution often finds the same solutions in different places. The forest is quiet, as if the other animals know of the danger that remains in the murk. High above, the pampas, the Argentavis, the largest flying bird ever known, glides on the thermal currents. Its wingspan reaches over 20 feet, allowing it to soar for miles without a single flap. The bird looks down upon the continent, its keen eyes searching for carrion or small prey. The shadow of its wings passes over the landscape like a dark cloud moving swiftly across the grass. It is the master of the Miocene skies, a giant that dwarfs all other birds. In the river deltas to the north, the Josephoartigasia, a rodent the size of a bull, rests in the shallows. It is a massive creature, with large front teeth, used for defense and for digging in the soft earth. The rodent spends much of its time in the liquid, its thick hide protected from the sun by a layer of mud. The channel is wide and slow, its flow carrying the nutrients of the interior toward the sea. The atmosphere here is humid and laden with the scent of tropical flowers and wet wood. As the sun moves toward the horizon, the landscape is bathed in a deep orange glow. The Andes catch the final rays of light, their snow-capped peaks shining like beacons above the plains. The rising of the mountains has changed. The climate, creating a rain shadow that turns the interior into a dry expanse. This geological shift has driven the evolution of the animals, forcing them to adapt to the new terrain. The world is in a state of constant, slow change, a measure of the passage of deep time. In the cooling atmosphere, the megatherium, the giant ground sloth, emerges from the forest to feed. It stands on its hind legs reaching high into the trees, its massive claws stripping the leaves from the branches. The sloth is a titan of the Pliocene, weighing several tons and moving with a deliberate weighted motion. Its fur is thick and coarse, often harboring small insects and even algae in its dense layers. The creature is a gentle giant, its presence a calming force in the evening light. The megatherium grunts softly as it pulls down a particularly succulent branch, the wood snapping under its strength. The noise is a dull thud that carries through the quiet woods, a sign of the animal's immense power. The landscape is turning to a soft indigo as the stars appear in the southern sky. The chill of the night moves into the valley, bringing a sense of rest to the creatures of the pampas. The giant sloth continues its meal undisturbed by the changing light on the rocky slopes of the foothills. The Borhyena, a dog-like marsupial, begins its nightly patrol. It is a sturdy predator with a large head and powerful jaws capable of cracking the shells of smaller armored animals. The creature moves with a low, slinking gait, its nose to the ground, following the scent of its prey. The atmosphere is crisp and clear, the thin mountain air carrying the vibration of the wind through the scrub. This is a land of specialists, where every niche is filled by a unique and strange inhabitant. In the marshy lowlands, the Astropotherium stands in the knee-deep stream, its strange tusks glinting in the twilight. It is another of the unique South American ungulates, with a body like a hippopotamus and a flexible snout. The creature feeds on the aquatic plants, its weighted body steady in the moving current. The flow of the river is a constant murmur, a pulse that has echoed through this valley for millions of years. The Astropotherium is a silent observer of the passing ages, a relic of the continent's long isolation. As the night deepens, the small marsupials like the Argyrologus emerge, to hop through the grass like tiny kangaroos. These creatures are the desert specialists, their long hind legs allowing them to escape the many predators of the plains. They move with a quick, erratic tempo, their large eyes reflecting the light of the moon. The pampas is alive with the movement of these small survivors, a hidden realm that thrives in the shadow of the giants. The cycle of life continues in the quiet of the southern night. The stars above are the same that have watched over this continent for eons, even as the species below have come and gone. The path of evolution here has been a solitary one, shaped by the barriers of the sea and the mountains. But the world is shifting, and the land bridge to the north is forming a connection that will change everything. The isolation of South America is coming to an end as the first invaders from the north move toward the border. We watch as the twilight fades into a deep velvet blue, the landscape settling into a profound stillness. The calls of the terror birds have ceased, and the giants of the pampas have found their places of rest. The atmosphere is calm, a moment of peace, before the next great transition in the history of life. The story of these strange and beautiful creatures is a testament to the creativity of the natural process. We remain in the quiet of the Miocene night, listening to the breath of a land that is about to change forever. As the first light of a new era touches the eastern horizon, we prepare to leave this island continent and follow the path of the Great Migration. The journey continues across the land bridge where the two worlds will finally meet, and the next chapter of evolution will unfold in the shadows of the falling snow. The land bridge is a narrow corridor of life, a bridge of soil and stone that links two immense realms. Across this thin ribbon, the wanderers move, their paws and hooves treading upon the new earth. The Smilodon, with its elongated fangs, moves with a silent, lethal grace through the tall grass of the northern frontier. It is a creature of shadow and patience, its amber eyes fixed on the horizon where the sun dips low. The atmosphere is thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, a change from the tropical warmth of the south. In the heart of the southern pampas, the Megatherium stands tall, a mountain of fur and muscle reaching for the high branches of a solitary tree. Its curved claws, designed for digging and pulling, hook into the bark with a soft, scraping vibration. This giant ground sloth is a marvel of the Pliocene, a gentle titan that walks on the sides of its feet. The landscape is a mosaic of golden grass and scattered groves, bathed in the soft purple light of the evening. Near the edge of a slow-moving stream, the Glyptodon rests, its massive domed shell resembling a boulder of bone. It is a creature of defense, a living fortress that has weathered the passage of 3 million years. The flow of the stream is a quiet murmur against the grassy bank, a soothing note in the cooling twilight. The Glyptodon does not hurry, for its armor protects it from the prowling hunters of the plains. The journey takes us across the sea to the island of Madagascar, where evolution has taken a different, more whimsical path. In the canopy of the baobab trees, the megalodopus moves with a slow, deliberate measure, its koala-like face peering through the leaves. It is a lemur the size of a man, a specialist of the forest that has found peace in its isolation. The atmosphere here is humid and fragrant, filled with the scent of orchid and decaying wood. Below the trees, the aepyornis, the elephant bird, guards its nest of enormous eggs. It is a flightless giant, its thick legs supporting a body that defies the typical proportions of the avian lineage. The forest floor is a carpet of ferns and moss, damp with the evening dew that reflects the silver light of the rising moon. This is a land of strange shadows and quiet wonders, where the rules of the mainland do not apply. As the Pliocene turns to the Pleistocene, a chill turns to a frost that begins to creep across the northern reaches of the globe. The first ice of the season coats the needles of the conifers in a delicate white lace. The landscape is shifting, the lush greens of the past giving way to the muted greys and whites of the coming cold. We see the woolly mammoth, a shaggy sentinel of the tundra, its tusks sweeping through the light snow in search of buried grass. The mammoth moves with a weighted, measured stride, its thick coat protecting it from the biting wind that sweeps across the steppe. Beside it, the Chaelodonta, the woolly rhinoceros, grazes in the half-light, its two horns casting long, jagged shadows on the frozen ground. The atmosphere is crisp, every breath a plume of white vapor that hangs in the still, cold air. This is the era of the giants of the frost, a time of endurance and resilience. In the valleys of Europe, the megaloceros, the giant elk, displays its incredible antlers, a span of 12 feet that crowns its head like a forest of bone. It stands at the edge of a frozen lake, its reflection shimmering on the glass-like skin of the water. The silence of the valley is profound, broken only by the occasional crack of ice or the distant call of a wolf. The terrain is a study in monochrome, a beautiful, harsh world where only the strongest survive. Across the southern oceans, in the sun-parched heart of Australia, the thylacoleo prowls the scrubland. It is the marsupial lion, a predator with bolt-cutter teeth and a powerful, retractable thumb claw. It moves with a stealthy, low-slung gait, its striped fur blending into the dappled shadows of the eucalyptus trees. The heat of the day persists in the red earth, a warmth that radiates upward into the violet sky. The diprotodon, a giant relative of the wombat, gathers with its kin at a shrinking waterhole. It is the largest marsupial to ever walk the earth, a slow-moving herbivore that finds comfort in the company of its herd. The murmur of their low grunts is a comforting noise in the vastness of the outback. The stars begin to appear, one by one, piercing the darkening veil of the heavens. The world is shifting into a long, deep sleep, the ice sheets advancing and retreating in a slow celestial cycle. The giants of the Pleistocene are the final masters of this era, their lives intertwined with the pulse of the glaciers. We watch as the snow begins to fall more dense, a soft white blanket that covers the traces of the past. The landscape is transformed into a realm of silence and peace, a sanctuary of cold and light. The aurora borealis dances across the northern sky, its curtains of green and violet light illuminating the tundra. Below, the mammoths huddle together for warmth, their breathing a steady communal cadence in the night. The shadows of the mountains are long and deep, hiding the secrets of the caves and the valleys. This is the twilight of the primordial world, a moment of transition before the arrival of the new dawn. We drift through the falling snow, past the frozen rivers and the silent forests of the north. The atmosphere is one of profound stillness, a rest that has been earned through millions of years of change. The creatures of the ice are at peace, their journey through time reaching a quiet, contemplative end. The story of evolution is written in the layers of the earth, a record of the strange and the beautiful. The stars above remain the same, their cold, distant light watching over the sleeping terrain. The cycle of the seasons continues, a measure of time that transcends the lives of individuals and species. We find ourselves at the edge of a great white expanse, where the horizon meets the sky in a seamless blur of silver. The chill is not a burden, but a gentle embrace, a call to rest and to dream. In the depth of a cavern, the firelight of a new presence flickers against the stone walls, a small, warm spark in the immense cold. It is a sign of things to come, but for now, the landscape belongs to the giants and the frost. The shadows dance in the amber glow, telling stories of the hunt and the journey. We leave them there, in the quiet of the Pleistocene night, as the era turns toward the future. The landscape is now a painting of indigo and white, a masterpiece of the elements. The wind has died down, leaving only the soft, rhythmic noise of the falling flakes. Every tree, every stone, every creature is a part of this silent, frozen tableau. We feel the weight of the ages lifting, replaced by a lightness of spirit and a sense of wonder. The journey through the strange paths of evolution has brought us here, to the threshold of the modern age. We have seen the giants of the sea, the monsters of the swamp, and the survivors of the desert. Each has played its part in the grand design, a thread in the intricate tapestry of life. The atmosphere is filled with a sense of completion, a closing of the circle. As the moon reaches its zenith, the landscape is bathed in a brilliant ethereal light. The snow sparkles like a field of diamonds, reflecting the glory of the heavens. We sink into the softness of the drift, our eyes closing as the warmth of sleep takes hold. The murmurs of the primordial world fade into the distance, leaving only the quiet pulse of our own hearts. The story of the past is a lullaby, a song of time and transformation that carries us into the deep, dark reaches of the night. We are safe in the embrace of history, a part of the long, unbroken chain of existence. The landscape is at rest, and we rest with it, dreaming of the wonders that have been and the mysteries yet to be revealed. The final light of the stars guides us home, to the place where all journeys begin and end. The silence is absolute, a perfect crystalline peace that fills the soul. We breathe in the cool, clean air of the Ice Age, and with one last lingering thought of the giants, we drift into the dreamless sleep of the ages. Thank you for wandering through deep time with me tonight. Until next time, on Forgotten Habitats, sleep well.